Hello friends, today I am going to explain you how to integrate Springboot with Angular application. So for that we need a Eclipse ID. So we need to install this Eclipse ID or any ID like IntelliJ, and we need to install Angular. So to set up the Angular, what are the prerequisites is there? So we need to install the Node.js. So we'll click on this Node.js link and then download the Node.js into your Windows machine. So it is downloading. So after download the Node.js, we'll install the Node.js and then we'll install the Angular CLI. So once the Angular CLI is installed, then we'll create one Angular application using ng new application name, and then we'll run the application using ng serve command. So it's downloaded completed. So it is installing the Node.js. Node.js installation completed. Click on finish. So after installation completed, we are going to check the Node.js version in command prompt. So you can see this node version is 18.16.1. NPM version is 9.5.1. So while you are installing Node.js, NPM also it is like included with the Node.js. So you no need to separately install NPM. So once you install the Node.js, NPM also automatically install in your machine. So now we'll run this. We'll install the Angular CLI. So what is this Angular CLI? We can use Angular CLI to create the project and generate an application, and so that application we can run and do the build, and we can do the deployment. So let's install the Angular CLI. So now the Angular CLI is installing. So once this Angular CLI is installed, then using this ng command we can create a Angular application. Without installing this Angular CLI, we cannot use the ng command. Okay. So you can see this Angular command, Angular CLI is installed. So now we'll see the version of Angular. So Angular CLI. So just type ng space v. So you can see the Angular CLI is 16.1.1, Node.js is 18.16.1, and npm package manager is 9.5.1. So now we'll create one Angular application. So this is my path. So here I am going to create the Angular application. So just to give this path, and inside the path you put ng new. You can give the application name, Angular application name, and enter. It is asking to add the Angular routing. Yes. Use CSS. Enter. So now it is creating all the files, default files, angular.json, package.json, index.html, style.css, and app component. And then it is installing the package using npm package manager. So inside the package.json, whatever the packages are mentioned, it is downloading those packages and it will keep in the node module folder. So while downloading this Angular application, we'll create one Springboot application and we'll import inside the Eclipse. So to create a Springboot application, type Spring Initializer and click on the Spring Initializer link. Here you can give Gradle or Maven. So I'm giving Maven and give the package name. And I'm selecting Java version. So I'm adding the dependency Spring Web. So whatever the dependency, you can add it here. Bloomberg and any other dependency. JPA. So you can see this. If you click on this explore, it will show you all the dependencies added in the form.xml. Springboot data JPA, Springboot starter web, Bloomberg, startup test. So now I will download this. So click on generate, it will download the project. So extract the zip file. And paste in a path. Now we'll open Eclipse. So you need to install the Eclipse. Here, so after opening the Eclipse, I will type existing Maven project. Copy the path. select the power protection. So Spring Boot application is created. So now I will go inside the Spring Boot application using cd command. I already inside the Spring Boot application. So once you came inside the Spring Boot application, put ngserf. So ngserf will build the application and it will convert all the TypeScript file into JavaScript file. So because JavaScript browser only understanding JavaScript files, so you can see here vendor.js, main.js, style.css, runtime.js. So these all the files will load in the browser. So we'll go to localhost 4200. So our Angular application now running. Okay, so meanwhile, you can see our Spring Boot application also is ready. So we'll start the Spring Boot application. While starting the Spring Boot application, there is some error is came. Okay, so meanwhile we'll remove the Spring Boot data JPA. Meanwhile, we will not connect to database. We will just hardcode some data in the controller and will show in the UI. Okay, we'll run the main application. You can see the main application started in 8080. So there is no controller, so I am going to create one controller. So we will put an REST controller. We will create one method. So this is a get mapping. Now we'll stop the Spring Boot application and we'll start again. So it is started, then I will check in the browser. GitHub. There is some white level error is coming. Okay, I not kept this. I not given the path for the git mapping. I'm restarting again. So it is started now. You can see the Ram Hari Krishna scheme. So now we will copy our Angular application inside this Spring Boot application, and we will show this data in the Angular application. Okay, so now it is loading. Angular application is loading in 4200, but Spring Boot application loading in 8080. But while after integration, it should load in the same port number. So that one will do. So So what we need to do, this Angular application we need to, okay, now we will copy the Angular application inside our Springboot project. So to copy the Angular application, we no need to copy the entire folder. We need to skip this node module folder because node module folder having lot of dependencies. So while copy it will take lot of time. So what we'll do, we'll copy all the things and exclude this node module. Go inside the Springboot Angular application, create a folder with the same name. So Angular project, Angular. So this is our Angular application name, project name. Then paste it. So now I will go to the Eclipse and refresh. So once I refresh this, you can see the Angular app is there. So right click on the Angular app and show in terminal. So now you do npm install. So it will download the node module folder. So to download the node module folder, that will take less time, but to copy the node module folder, that will take a lot of time. And one thing also, we no need to commit the node module folder in the Bitbucket branch. So now I will refresh the project. You can see the node module is came, node module folder, and all the dependencies downloaded. So there is one thing is the app.routing.module.ts. So now we will create one component, employee component. So to create a component, the command is ng space g space c component name. So our component is created. Just refresh this app folder. You can see one component is created. So to separate the component and service, we will create one folder. Folder name is components. So we'll keep all the component there. So I'm just moving the employee component inside the component folder. So in the app module.ts, here we will give component. So employee component is imported in the app module.ts, the declaration package. So now I will create a service. So to create a service, the command is ng gs gs, then service name. So ng space g space this, then service name is the employee. So then I will refresh the app folder. You can see one employee service.ts and employee service.specs ts is created. So what I will do, I will just create one folder called service. Then I will move inside that. Yeah, so it is moved inside that employee service. So you can clear now, it is more clear, right? So inside our component folder is there, service folder is there. So service will communicate with our Springboot REST controller. Okay. So now our employee controller is we need to give the routing path inside this app routing module.ts file. So to mention that we need to type path. So I will import the I will import the employee component inside the routing module. So for component we no need for single quote. For path we need the single quote. So I given as a employee. So now okay, so now what we'll do, we'll run our both Angular application and Spring Boot application in the same port number. So to differentiate that, we will use as a hash as a difference. So you can see here in the routes, we'll put comma. So use okay, we need to use inside the bracket. So use hash as a true. So once you use this, then we can easily differentiate our Spring REST controller and Angular URL. So after that, there is one thing we need to do in the open the angular.json file, and there is one output path is there. So we need to change that one. So in the output path, instead of this dot angular app, we'll give the main resources static. So inside the resources, it will create one static folder and it will keep all this JavaScript file. So while we are building the Angular application, it will convert all the TypeScript file to JavaScript file and it will keep in the static folder. So this will load in the browser. So now we will build our application. ng build watch. So ng build means it will build only one time. But if you are using hyphen watch, so whenever you are developing, if you are doing any code changes, it will directly build. So you no need to build every time. So after every code changes, you need to just refresh the static folder. So you can see here one static folder is came, just right click and refresh, or else you can refresh the resource folder. So you can see here in the static folder index.html, main.js, style.css, runtime.js. So all the files are there. So now we'll stop our Spring Boot application and we'll start the application again. And we'll go to the URL. We'll put one hash. Okay, it is coming to the app component page only. So that one we'll check, because if you see inside our component, so here employee works, so this should come, but it is coming as a different. Okay, so now this folder is not required because we already given as a static folder the output path. So I've deleted this. So why it is loading the app component? Because if you go inside the index.html, this is the entry point. Here we are mentioning app-root. So app-root is the app component HTML. So it will render this selector. So based on this selector, it will load this template URL. So what we will do for that? So inside this app component.html, we will remove everything and we'll keep our router outlet. So this will route based on our app routing module.ts. We have configured the path, and this will, based on this path, it will load this component. Okay, so after this I will refresh the static folder one more time, and it is building. Okay, it's done, and now I'm loading. Yeah, you can see now employee works. So now the employee component is loaded. So now our API is running on the 8080. Our employee API is running on 8080 get all employee, and our Angular application also running on the same port number, but only we are using hash, so to differentiate that. And so this is the component path. So based on this path, so it is loading the component. So now I will call this API, and I will show this data in our employee component. So for that we have created one service. So from service we'll create one method. So for that we need to import HTTP. From the Angular common HTTP. inside the constructor we'll inject that HTTP client. So we need to do inside the constructor. So the injection is completed for this HTTP. So now we'll call this. Okay, now the service is created. So we'll import this service in our component and then we'll call our call from the component. So we'll import service name is employee service. And we'll create one constructor. And then we'll inject the our service. So now what we'll do, we'll create one variable employee and we'll create one method. Inside the method we'll call this dot employee service dot get all employee. And then so this is the service method we are calling and we are subscribing. So data is the response. So whatever the response will come from the our REST controller API. So now this dot employee list equal to data. So this employee list I'll put it here in the HTML file. So some error. Okay, the error is gone now. So to show the variable data from the TypeScript to HTML, we need to use this curly bracket. So 2 curly bracket. And then put the variable. So it will show the employee list. So now we will refresh the page, static folder. Then we will refresh our browser. can see this method we need to call while page loading. So what we'll do inside this component, we'll call this method on ng-onInit. Okay, so to do that we need to use the onInit. So onInit will do while loading this component, it will load the onInit method and it will call the methods. So we are getting some error because we need to import the HTTP module. So that is from Angular common HTTP, and then we need to use this inside our import section. So once you do this, so then you can see in the network tab there is one get all employees called HTTP localhost 8080 get all employee get method, and response we are getting Ram Hare Krishna. So this is from the API we are getting, but this data is not showing in the HTML. So that one we'll check it why it is not showing. Okay, so instead of returning a string, so I will return a list of object. Okay, so I will create a DTO, employee DTO, then I will return the DTO to the UI. So I am creating a class employee DTO. So name and department, I am creating getter setter. I will create constructor. I will create a no argument constructor. Yeah, so our DTO is ready. So we'll change this return type as a list of employee DTO. So name a list, and in the list I will add. So now I am not getting from database, I am just returning from this controller. So you can get it from database and you can return it. now we'll restart. Then we will go to our HTML and we'll copy one sample table from double-thread code. So this is a sample table. You go to Google and type HTML table, it will come. Double-thread code. Try yourself and take this code and paste it here. So we need only name and department. So I will remove this third one. So this is a static table, but we will make it a iterate table. So for that, what we'll do, we need to use ng4 equal to let emp of, we need to take the variable name as employee list. So here we will put emp dot name emp dot department. So whatever is there in the DTO should be same. So we are getting some error because this need to change the type. So now it is a string, right? So we need to put as a any of array equal to array. So any means any type. So now the error is gone, you can see. So now we'll load the page. Yeah, now you can see we are getting the data from Ram and Sam, software and accountant, from the API call. So you can see so to view the API response, you can hit one more time. You can see this get all employee here. This is the URL response we are getting from the API. So this response we are displaying in a table, Angular table. Yeah. So in preview you can see there are two JSON is coming. So now I am creating one TTO and I am returning list of employee DTO. Instead of this, you can connect with the database and you can get the data and you can show in the UI, Angular UI. So thank you guys. Please subscribe my channel.